In the headlines, a case against Salisbury protesters adjourned once more after a significant number of the accused failed to show up in court. Abandoned banana fields slowed down black sigatoka eradication efforts, and collaboration between senior citizens in Dominica and Martinique hold prospects for tourism. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. We begin in St. Joseph, where there was another adjournment on Tuesday in a court matter in which Salisbury people were facing charges of disturbing the public peace.
On Tuesday, 31 out of 52 defendants appeared at the St. Joseph Magistrates Court to answer to charges relating to a protest in May at Salisbury. According to the court, 21 accused were absent, with only 2 providing excuses indicating they were out of island. Therefore, the charges for the additional people summoned to court were not formally read. Police prosecutor Michael Loader requested an adjournment on the basis that they needed to be clear on the identities of some of the accused. Magistrate Bernard Paquette told the prosecution, I quote, "Take as much time as you need. If I were you, I would work with all the diligence and deliberation." Close quote. The matter has been adjourned to April 26. The legal team representing the people of Salisbury comprise attorneys David Bruni, Joshua Francis, Ronald Charles, and Cara Shillingford. Shillingford says they have a strong case.
It went to our expectations. The prosecution indicated that they were not ready to proceed today and requested an adjournment. As the magistrate indicated, quite a few of their reasons for requesting the adjournment were not valid reasons. They were not good enough reasons. They also indicated to the court that the DPP only received the file yesterday, although this matter, this case, relates to an incident which occurred in May of 2015, about 6 months ago. So, we were disappointed insofar as there's an injustice going on before the court at this point, but we were not surprised.
6 people were initially arrested and charged in June, while 46 received summons to appear in court.
The prosecution made mention about verifying identity of individuals, and I found it strange because one of the procedures that would have had to be followed is that prior to bringing the 52 persons to court, one would have to ensure that he has correct identity for the persons. And therefore, I found that it was very amazing that the prosecution made mention of having to kind of verify names and so forth.
We strongly believe that there are some hiccups with the charges that were brought against the 52 persons, and we'll do the appropriate applications at the appropriate times.
The matter is in connection with a May 11 protest where Salisbury residents blocked the Salisbury Highway to get government to respond to deplorable farm and village roads. Idona John Baptist reporting for Channel 5 News.
We move on now to agriculture, where a regional agricultural agency has found that too many abandoned banana and plantain fields are slowing down the control of black sigatoka. Idona John Baptist has more.
The Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute is executing a disease management program in the region. That's a project funded by the Caribbean Development Bank. A team from the Trinidad-based agency was on island recently to train agricultural officers in a new approach of managing black sigatoka.
This project is aiming to develop a strategy for the management of black sigatoka and an integrated disease management strategy. The project is based in Guyana, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Dominica. In Dominica, I think there are challenges on the ground. We have visited farmers that have been able to manage the disease quite effectively, but we're also seeing a lot of abandoned fields, which puts an additional pressure on farmers who want to manage the disease. We're seeing too many brown leaves, which need to be removed. We're seeing too many yellow leaves on the banana plant, which really need to be pruned off the plant.
Jones says the responsibility to control the spread of the disease does not only lie on the farmer.
Because there's no way a fungicide can do any control of the disease in a field that has brown or yellow leaves. So farmers need to be taking a bit more responsibility in the field. And I think the overall government needs to give the farmers more support in removing those abandoned fields and to give the farmers a chance to be able to manage the disease more effectively. And then you also have the monitoring team to ensure that the disease on the ground is at a low level. They need to be, so there is a role for everybody, and also the input suppliers have to make sure that the relevant inputs in terms of fertilizer, nematicides are available to the farmers.
Meantime, a consultant with CADI says Dominica can take an example from St. Lucia in their Sigatoka management practices.
I can tell you St. Lucia has done very well. They've gone through the stage of insect leaf speckling, and they managed to grow the plants disease-free, almost disease-free, but now they have to go into the stage of production.
Still in agriculture, the Dominica Agricultural Producers and Exporters Agency has identified opportunities for export to Barbados. However, shipping challenges continue to weigh down that plan.
Like Dominica, Barbados is situated in the Atlantic Ocean and the Lesser Antilles. It is south of Dominica, and on a commercial flight it takes just an hour to travel directly to there. But while it appears not too far apart from Dominica, there are export setbacks which continue to face the Dominica Agricultural Producers and Exporters Agency for that destination.
But one of the challenges that we have is the shipping. Shipping to Barbados goes north and goes down, and it takes about 4, 5, 6 days. And based on the shipping schedule, when you pick up the goods, say, let's say Monday or Tuesday, you do not really get to Barbados until Friday. And sometimes the Friday you can't get clearance for the port. So the goods remain 2 days, Saturday and Sunday on the boat, and it's still on the Monday it is processed. So all of that transition time, the quality of the fruit will suffer.
Plans are afoot by government to supply bananas to the Barbados market. Stedman says DAPEX has also recognized that it would be profitable to export non-banana crops to that market.
The Canadian has a project they call Propeller, where they're trying to develop markets for high-end quality products to the Barbados market. And for example, things like yams, things like plantains and bananas. You have, because bananas are coming all the way from Central America and the United States into Barbados market at the moment, because you don't have the supply to supply that particular market.
Hucksters have a better advantage of supplying produce to low-end markets overseas.
The other issue that we have with shipping with Barbados market is if you were doing containerized cargo, and that is the preferred shipping with the Barbados market as opposed to the loose deck what you have the ship from Portsmouth going to Antigua and so on, is that you're limited this amount of the mix of fruit into a 20-foot container, because fruits have various ripening conditions. So therefore you could have a situation where that if you have citrus and bananas, it may not be the best mix and so on, because each of the fruits, and you have to deal with this constraint.
Two Calypsonians will not be competing this Calypso season, leaving the space for two reserves to contest the quarterfinal round. Iduna John Baptist has more.
Sheldon the Professor Alfred was a finalist in the 2015 Calypso finals, and Marja Lady Star Jeffers competed in the semi-final. However, they have indicated to the Calypso Association they will be missing in action on the local Calypso scene this time around. The Professor made his debut on the Grand Calypso stage last season. He is the reigning Stardom King of the Tent.
In the quarterfinals, there may be names that are going to come from the elimination that will have to take part. For example, we know already that Sheldon, who is a professor, he is in state studying, so he's not going to be in the competition, so he has to be replaced by one of the reserves. And also, Marja Jeffords, the Lady Star, has indicated to the Calypso Association that she will not be taking part in the competition. So she'll also be replaced by another reserve. So basically you're going to have at least, as we speak now, 14 Calypsonians that was in the elimination will be performing at the quarterfinals.
Normally, what happens is that 12 Calypsonians are chosen from the elimination round to meet 20 to contest the quarterfinal. The 20 Calypsonians include 9 who competed at the previous Calypso final and 11 from the semi-final competition.
So all in all, we're supposed to have 32 Calypsonians at the quarterfinals. We don't change that. That remains as is. So what will happen is that any monarch that we decide to facilitate, then there will just be an addition. As it stands now, we should have 33 Calypsonians taking part in the quarterfinals, because that will be 32 originally, and then the inclusion of Trinidad if he is able to come down.
Earl White Jr., Charis D, and The Oxygen are the Calypsonians placed on reserve from the weekend's Calypso elimination round. Calypso quarterfinal will take place on January 9. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
Coming up on the Channel 5 News, how better waste management at home can help solid waste cope with limited resources. Welcome back. Collaboration between senior citizens in Dominica and neighboring French islands could create another opportunity to boost the tourism sector. The observation was made by director of a Martinique-based association which promotes the rights of older persons, AMDOR. Franz Remy says the relationship among elderly people of the two countries can be used to strengthen the tourism sector. He says, however, that current traveling conditions pose difficulties for the elderly. This, in turn, impedes the viability of the sector.
I am another project with the Dominica Council to organize this in July, a first meeting, tourism for senior citizens in the Caribbean. The problematic of the tourism for senior citizens in the Caribbean is very, very, very important. Not only abuse, but also tourism also is a big problem. With by plane, by boat, by exchange program also, and I think is a good opportunity to organize.
Remy says that Dominica and Martinique share similar concerns regarding treatment of the elderly.
The situation of abuse in Martinique is not physical. For me now, c'est psychologique and also finance. Not abuse in the hospital necessarily, but abuse at home. Hein? Si ou pas qu'à aller voter là, mais pas qu'à maintenant voter. Est-ce vrai? Hein? Ça c'est un abuse, ça. Hein? Et puis, the other abuse you observe in Martinique, c'est abuse médicaments, tablettes, medical also.
The Dominica Council on Aging last week wrapped up the 3rd Caribbean Conference on Aging, Elder Abuse, and the Rights of Older Persons. Dominica Solid Waste Management representative believes the separation of waste items for collection could assist the company's resources issues. Lurian Graham Carter reports.
The corporation most recently began a campaign to collect plastic material from around the island for shredding and exporting. This is because the landfill has seen an increase in plastic material, especially after Erica. Public Relations Officer of Solid Waste says if people separate their garbage, then it wouldn't be such a burden on the landfill.
One of the weaknesses of the corporation is that we need collection, a proper fleet for collection of our waste. The way forward for us is getting people to separate their waste at source, at their points of generation, at homes, at schools, businesses, to ensure that they separate recyclable waste, your cans, plastics, and your bottles, from organic waste. If you can get organic waste being placed out on a day and time, and get a farmer group, for example, to do composting as an income earner, that will reduce the amount of that volume of waste, which is about almost 50% of organic waste. That will reduce that volume of waste coming into the landfill. The landfill is already filled.
He says although trucks are needed, the priority is collection of recyclable material.
We cannot continue to look towards building a new landfill as is now in Fokole. Our efforts and our way forward is that of preparing that site as a site and a facility for treating cans, plastic bottles, recyclables for export overseas. Enshrined in the Solid Waste Management Act 1 of 2002 is what we call the cradle to grave policy. Meaning an item was manufactured, produced overseas, a packaging item, it should again be exported and shipped overseas. Because we don't recycle in Dominica. What we do, we facilitate the efforts of recycling.
And the lives of 4 physically challenged people have been made a bit easier with the donation of prosthesis. A contribution of prosthesis was made at a ceremony of the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities to observe International Day for Persons with Disabilities last week. Prosthesis is an artificial device that replaces a missing body part which may be lost through trauma, disease, or congenital conditions.
We have undertaken the mission of equipping Dominican leg amputees with new or reconditioned prosthetics, many brought from France. The project is intended in the first instance for 1 year. The initial objective is the provision of 12 prosthetic limbs to Dominican amputees and to adjust them.
Plans are underway to provide long-term care for owners of prosthesis in Dominica.
During the first visit, thanks to the partnership with the French company Orthopédie Bontou, we have been able to create a temporary laboratory workshop set up in Mero as of the November 23rd. Mr. Winston Philip from St. Joseph and Mr. Tommy Mason from Mero village have both received practical training which allows them to adjust to fit and to assist patients with artificial limbs. They can now offer to amputees with prosthetic limb follow-up and maintenance right here on the island.
Silius Charles from Kulibistri, Carol Mitchell from Mont Prosper, Renix John Charles from Salisbury, and Caroline Ismail, who lives in Canefield, were recipients of the prosthesis.
I'm thanking Mr. Mark and the crew and Mistress Murphy for inviting me here and accepting a food work. But by the grace of God, I will someday.
The theme for International Day for Persons with Disabilities is Inclusion Matters, Access and Empowerment for People of All Abilities. Thank you for staying with us. Kenny Williams is next with your sports highlights.
Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. First up, football. There were wins for Nemesis United, RIC Kingsborough, Fonkole United and Element Agencies in the Division 1 League on Friday.
Nemesis United defeating Colio 5-1 at the Benjamin Park. Akel later scored a hat-trick for Nemesis with Chad Graham getting 2, while at the Newton playing field, RIC Kingsborough edged out Harlem United 3-2. Chuvan Dangelbel, Elvis Dura and Michael Roll scored for Kingsborough. Kasim Peltier got both goals for Harlem. And at the Pori playing field, Fokole United defeated Daspa Potters 3-1 in the first match of a doubleheader. Michael Nelson, Jovin Lawrence and Anton Francis scored for Fokole. Ricky Reed scored for Potters, while in the second match, Element Agencies LA Stars won by 4-2 over Granford Young Boys. Tanaka Barry, Ranjir Laron and Cheston Prosper scored for LA Stars. The other goal came from a Young Boys player. Kimon Coffey scored for Young Boys, while LA Stars also benefited from an own goal.
Meantime, in Division 1 football, 2 matches are on the cards for Wednesday's edition of the DFA Division 1 Football League.
Key Rollers will take on Maosuka Strikers at 5 p.m. at the Dubla playing field, while in a doubleheader at the Pori playing field, Wayne George Academy will come up against Trafalgar at 5 p.m. to be followed by Police Sports Club versus ACS Tarish United at 7 p.m.
Moving on to cricket, the Bellerive Oval in Australia will see some cricket action when the West Indies and Australia face off for their first test starting Wednesday. The Windies will be hoping to recover from humiliating defeat when they lost to Cricket Australia 11 by 10 wickets on Saturday. West Indies will have to improve their performance if they are to stand a chance against Australia. Meantime, in word from the streets, Channel 5 Sports interviewed some cricket enthusiasts to find out how they feel about West Indies' chances against Australia.
Well, if they couldn't win the A team, they will not sure they're going to win, because I find West Indies need to be restructured. The whole board needs to be changed.
Seeing that is the strongest team of Australia that they are going to play with, oh my God, I vouch for them. I really vouch for them.
Our chances tomorrow in the batting department, I cannot hope I cannot hope for too much in the batting department. You know, Bradford and those guys, yes. You know, but in terms of, I mean, we have no world-class batsman. Number one, the people that you expect to do something, they're people like even Bravo. Bravo lacks temperament, and he can lose it at any time, and we have a problem there. The bowling department, that is where we might stand a chance. I personally believe on a good day we can bowl out anybody. That is where the Australians might have a problem with us. Even if we skid out a team, we bowl out a team cheaply, our batsmen will not deliver.
The West Indies have to bulk up. They need to be more consistent on the field. They need to play as a team. Because I don't really think I am going to know high hopes for them winning tomorrow, but then it's my team, it's West Indies, I'll still support them, but let's just see what happens. Let's wish them good luck.
They give Australia match practice.
So is that just a practice for Australia?
Practice for Australia, anyway.
In some more sports, a 13-year-old Noah Magloire made history in local martial arts when he earned his first black belt on the weekend. Sensei Shanna Robbins says the grading sessions were a success and he is satisfied with the progress of the students.
Universal Martial Arts Academy had the first ever black belt grading held in Dominica here, and it was a very empowering grading, a very empowering time for the students. I mean, the youngest person was 14 years old, and the oldest was 37 years old. All candidates was very victorious, successful, and they had to be tested both physical, mental, and emotionally. In the end, they also had a few students who did the instructor program, who have now earned to be called instructors internationally. So 5 of them, who is the students are Larry Cameron, Ishmael Francis, Jody Andrew, Abigail Pine, Michael Pemberton, and these students are now international instructors.
And finally, in forehand domino games held on Sunday, the New Mem Domino League saw 10 teams competing in Zone A and 10 in B. In Zone A, Rabbit Hole 4003, Martian 3377, Golden Arms 4022, Mams Execute 3594, Tambourine Tree City 4003, Remix 3735, Swansea 1514, and Skills 935. Swansea won by default. Meantime, in Zone B, Valiance 4001, Rebels 3559, Mount Zion 4003, Giants 2797, Matrix 4002, Homeboys 3562, Task Force 4012, 007 Babi 3264. That's all the time we have for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
Your weather report is next.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. The Atlantic high pressure system continued to be the dominant feature today, producing a relatively stable atmosphere across the area, resulting in generally fair skies across the island chain. This was seen across Dominica, with this area of cloudiness expected to pass to the north of Dominica sometime tonight into tomorrow. Radar imagery confirmed limited shower activity across the island chain today. Tonight's weather is expected to be fair to partly cloudy with a few scattered showers, and for tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers can be expected. Sea conditions are expected to be moderate in open water with waves peaking near 7 feet. For the next 3 days, expect occasional cloudy skies and scattered showers with the greatest potential for shower activity on Thursday night into Friday morning. For the remainder of the Caribbean, partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers can be expected tomorrow. On the international cities forecast, partly cloudy skies in New York, some thunderstorm activity in Miami, and clear skies in London, Beijing, and Caracas. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:21 a.m. and set at 5:35 p.m. For additional information, feel free to contact us at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. A case against Salisbury protesters adjourned once more after a significant number of the accused failed to show up in court. Abandoned banana fields slowed down black sigatoka eradication efforts, and collaboration between senior citizens in Dominica and Martinique hold prospects for tourism. Email us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Andrea Lee. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.